Hey everyone, welcome to 2023. I hope last year was good to y'all and this year will be even more better. But as always, we got 4 new games, so let's get into it. So I kind of lied at the beginning. We got actually a lot of games that are available through most of the year. It's probably about 310 days around there when this video comes out left to redeem it. So not the full year, but SNK games are back. There's a bunch of them. They even got the 40th anniversary, which comes with 24 games. You also got Metal Slug, The Last Blade. Yeah, and it's good games. It's very retro style, so that's the thing there. Metal Slug I always like playing every now and then. I got most of them free from, I want to say, like a year or two ago, but they're back on there. So if that's interesting to you, this is a good time to definitely check out Prime Gaming since there's a lot there. But as always, I cover the monthly ones that are released directly through the client for the Prime Gaming. They also been doing some with GOG and some other clients that have some free games. So always check those out, but we'll maintain the normal ones I always cover. So first up, we got Faraway 2. This actually came out last month. It's a relatively new game, $5. I saw its mobile version. So very new, very interesting puzzle game. This is also a mobile, and you can kind of tell by the graphics, which I did enjoy the look of the game. Kind of simplistic. It looks like a puzzle game. I don't know if that makes sense to a lot of people, but if you play puzzle games, you got the feel of this. The environment was pretty cool. I enjoyed walking around, exploring the world. But the mobile controls kind of stick out here a lot. There's times you guys spin something or mess with sliders. And on the mouse, it's okay, but it felt not quite right. And then once I learned it was a mobile game, I'm like, oh, I understand why these controls are here. I do think the puzzles are the perfect level of difficulty. There was some thought to them, but not overly complicated. There was some easier ones, but I felt like it was a very good level to maintain. Not enough to be frustrating, but enough to kind of stump you here and there and make you progress and feel accomplished. There is no jumping. You only really have an interact button, a run button, and walk. So overall, I would say not a download. The Pro here, it seems more mobile, and I would probably look into that versus the PC version if you enjoyed the look of this game. And the con here, which I didn't really touch in the talk there, is it's literally just puzzles. There's really no story or anything either. So it's what you saw is kind of what you got, and if that didn't interest you, you probably won't like this game. Next up, we have Breathedge, which came out in 2021. Looking at a Metacritic score of 71 and about 16 hours of gameplay for this $25 game. This is a survival game, and basically there's a space wreck, and you're trying to get to a point to be rescued. You were able to establish communication a little bit into the game, and trying to get away from this wreck. Collecting stuff was kind of interesting. There was these like circles floating around, and you had to gather them. You have a certain amount of oxygen, so you kind of got to get back to the ship at the beginning, and eventually you upgrade all this, so it makes it easier. And you got to build tools, your normal crafting stuff, and there's resources that you couldn't get at the beginning until you have tools to break them down. So kind of basic survival game stuff here. This was more towards the funny aspect. I put that in quotation marks, which made the game okay. Some jokes landed, some just weren't that great. So it just has a lighter side. And it, like I said, it's just that lighter side of a survival game, not too serious. Which, if you did like survival games but thought a lot more hard or a little more darker, this one might be geared a little bit more towards you. And it's not necessarily like, I didn't feel like I was struggling in the game. You had to get food and water, which was a little rough at the beginning, but it kind of eased up the further into the game. So I never felt like I was in need of getting something. I felt like I was spending a lot of time exploring. But I would pay attention to the prompts only on. If you miss one like I did, you might get a little lost easily. So if you pay attention to those, you're fine. The graphics were enjoyable. I enjoyed moving around in space. I like that. It didn't feel like it was too crazy to move around, so I did like that. I had an okay experience, and I would say download. The Pro here, this is a Space Subnautica, basically, but a very light version, not a heavy survival game. So if you like Subnautica, maybe you want a little easier time, this is game for you. The con is it's not the most complicated survival game I played, and that funny side might be annoying. Before I get into the next game, I did want to apologize for the last 2 games. I have a new setup, and I was figuring things out, so there was some tearing in the videos. That was not in the game, so that was just my capture. I did fix it for the rest of these videos, even though I had to brighten the last one, because this one might be a little darker, but you will still be able to tell the game, which is Lawn Mowing Simulator. One of the games I always looked at, got free, I think through Game Pass before, but it came out in 2021. Looking at a Metacritic score of 69, $20, and 17 hours of gameplay. And this is a mowing simulator. You have a mower, you cut grass, but it's set up like a mowing empire. You're running a business. So you get contracts, cut some yards, earn money, and you can expand out by buying buildings, hiring people to send on contracts so you don't have to mow them yourself. So kind of simple format for that. And obviously you can buy new equipment. They actually have real mowers and real equipment to buy, which is good. The graphics I enjoyed a lot. Very straightforward. Looks pretty good. You can tell when you cut grass. That was a big highlight there. Obviously, if you couldn't tell if you cut a grass, that's very bad graphics. Very relaxing game. There ain't much else to it. I wouldn't say the management side is really heavy. It's kind of very simple, and the cutting grass, just you can kill time. You just cut grass, that's all there is. This is the regular edition, not the landmark edition. I will clarify that. But you do get the string trimmer as well, which I did enjoy using. Kind of simple. It seemed like they added it later, which they did, but didn't really get too much thought into it. It still works, and I did like the option to do that. Gains on our channel did review, which you can click here. That goes a lot more in depth than what I usually do on Download or Not. And some of the stuff he mentioned that the bugs were fixed. They did improve the game. And overall, I would say Download. 2 of us on the channel like the game, so it's very good. Pro here, just relaxing. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a simulator you'll relax to, not really put much thought into, and can kind of just space out and enjoy a video game for an hour. The con here, if you really hate cutting grass, obviously this game's not for you. And if it looked kind of boring, you're not going to like this, because you are just cutting grass at the end of the day. Lastly, we got Chicken Police Painted Red, which came out in 2020. This game had a pretty decent Metacritic score of 82, $20 on Steam, and about 7 hours on this classic adventure game. First note here, the visuals are amazing. They are so weird, but they work, and it just looks crazy. I like the looks of the characters. It was just weird, but it grew on you, and you start enjoying it. The voice acting was really good, too. I enjoyed the voice acting. All the characters had personalities. They got pretty good voice actors. Your main character, Sony Featherland, sounds like a detective. It sounds like what you expect a detective to be. So it was fun to hear that and enjoy the dialogue. At least it wasn't silent. And like I said, it was very entertaining on that one. Basically, like I said, you're a detective, and there was an accident while you're a police officer, and you got put as a detective, and you're near retirement. And someone comes in with a task for you that had enough interest, because they show you a photo of something that normally people wouldn't show you that relates to your past. So that's the kicker of the game. Simple gameplay, pretty much just dialogues, clicking normal detective, putting pieces together. Got a few little action areas, but nothing too crazy. The style here is the old noir style story, and it was executed pretty well. Points wasn't like the greatest, but I did enjoy it. It made me want to play. I was interested in the whole case and just learning about the character. So overall, download. The Pro here, it's a nice reimage of an old, I wouldn't call it point and click game, but old detective game you would play, but updated to recent times with very good acting and a weird concept. I will have to admit, the game is just weird. Con here, if you feel like it's a lot of dialogue, which it is, or just hate reading a lot, you might not like it, but I will say the voice acting does help you through the story. But that's all we have for this month. You have a lot of games with the SNK. 4 pretty decent games. I did enjoy pretty much most of them this time, so we're getting back to the games I'm enjoying in my point of view, which if you've been following these, you probably have a similar one. This month, it's a toss-up. I liked Lawn Mowing Simulator and Chicken Police. I would check out Chicken Police, the weirdness. I like weird stuff, so that just drew to me more a little bit. But the Lawn Mowing Simulator is a very interesting game that's pretty basic, but enjoyable and relaxing. And why not kick the year off with something relaxing? So I'll put them two up there, and depending on your preference, you'll probably decide one or the other. But I hope you enjoy both. And anyway, see you next month. Peace.